Hi everyone, happy Thursday. We're doing this on a Thursday, I guess. So you're probably wondering why there's not a coloring book right now on my desk and why you're seeing my face. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Let's see. I'm going to try to keep my ums down here. I am stressed. If you happen to see my Instagram posts, like take that stressed in all caps there and like multiply it times about 4 or 5. This year is not off to the best start for us, and I haven't colored anything since I finished the picture on the first, which was one of the color by number pictures I showed you in the complete pages. I haven't colored anything since. I have had so much going on, so much anxiety, so much inability to wind down in the evenings and actually do something other than stare at my phone all evening after I've stared at the screen all day at work, that I just haven't been able to do any actual coloring. Now, normally what I would do is a coloring chat where you would see me color and I would tell you all these things that I'm going to tell you. And I didn't do that for a couple of reasons. One, again, I haven't had a chance to color anything, and every time I thought about trying, I am so just worked up that right now the idea of doing anything that requires any level of multitasking is just not an option. Not an option. So I can't really, even if it's colored by number page, I can't color and talk right now. It's just, I can't do it live. Normally, I would just color and then I would record my voice, but I don't really have the time or patience to do that because that could take 2 or 3 hours. So we're just doing a quick and dirty, just chat. Now, there's no color about this. We can talk about coloring, that's fine. There's just not going to be any coloring in this particular video. I am not all gussied up for the camera. I am wearing a t-shirt. My hair is freshly washed at least. And the skincare stuff I've been keeping up the last few weeks actually makes my skin look pretty nice today. Normally, I suffer from really bad rosacea. I've been making an effort to keep up a skincare routine for the past week and a half, and it's done a lot of good. So it's not great, but I'm just not at the level of putting makeup on. And I've already talked to my therapist and my mom today about all these different things, and I figured I better do this now because I don't have very much time between now and Sunday, and Monday I have to go back to Seattle for a week. So I figured now is the best time to do this and kind of update you on everything that's happened since December, which has been a fair amount. And I'm going to try to tell all this as quickly as I can instead of making this an hour-long video. So maybe having to look at my mug on this will prompt me to move faster with it. So I haven't really done a coloring chat or any sort of chat since December. Last I talked to you, I was getting ready to leave for Seattle. Sound familiar? And it was going to be the week of the 18th before Christmas. We were doing a team offsite there for my job and my team, and it was just the only date they could get at the end of the year. I was not looking forward to it because I had just come back from my 2-month leave. I was still having a lot of trouble with energy, and just I really wasn't looking forward to it. I like my team, my teammates. I like spending time with them. Getting there and actually seeing them wasn't the problem. It was just having the energy to do it all. Like, I just didn't have it. And I was stomping around like a toddler on that Sunday because I just absolutely was like, I could have been kicking and screaming on the floor because I was just having a mental tantrum about, I just physically didn't know if I was going to last the week. And then I got everything ready. cat stuff for my husband to manage, all my stuff packed. I was going out the door. Last thing I was going to do is I forgot to check into my flight for the next morning. Normally, I go stay at my parents' the night before because they're closer to the airport, and that way I get like an extra 40 minutes of sleep. And not that I'm sleeping really well anyway, but it's just easier. Plus, I get to spend some time with my family, which is nice. And so I was leaving to go to my parents' house, and the last thing I'd do is check into my flight. And I was like, oh, I better do this before I leave. And so I logged into my work laptop to forward the information to my personal email. And I saw a note from my next level up manager that him and his whole family were sick. They were just going to end up canceling the entire week because he didn't feel safe coming there and infecting everybody. And he really didn't want to do it virtually. So we were just going to cancel it and reschedule for January. The stress I felt, but I'm not gonna lie, I did not want him to be sick. I did not want his family to be sick. But the relief and the benefit that extra week gave me, like, I don't think I would be sitting here talking into this camera right now. I would be like banging my head against the wall or screaming in circles or just crying in a corner right now if I hadn't had that extra week. So we still worked, but there wasn't a whole lot because most of our email work had been wrapped up in lieu of all of our week meetings we were going to have. So I still had a couple coworkers that ended up flying out, but no offense, you better believe I canceled that. Was terrified I wasn't going to be able to cancel it. And I did. I was able to cancel the flights and the hotel and everything. I was so relieved. And again, it wasn't that I didn't want to see some of my team, but not all of them were going to be there. And we didn't have a lot of work that week. And in all honesty, I did not want to sit around in an office just staring at walls with not a whole lot to do when I was just perpetually exhausted and still had stuff to take care of at home before Christmas. And thankfully, because I got that week back, if you saw my completed pages video, you saw that I actually did and I think I'll add this because I just want to upload this video as is. I don't want to do any fancy editing. I made a little Pac-Man set for my brother. I posted it on Instagram too, so you've probably seen it if you've seen that or my completed pages video. I spent that whole week in the evenings and all my free time crocheting that set for him. I never would have gotten it done had I had to leave, so I was so thankful for that. And you guys, just the extra downtime I had that week, like, it really is what's made my ability to like survive the last 4 days possible. I truly believe that. So I, worked on crocheting that all week. I wanted to do some things for my parents that were handmade too, but I just didn't have the time. That set was what I was laser focused on. I still didn't get the cherries done. Actually, I was supposed to do them this weekend, and I don't know. We'll see. But he really liked it. He was really surprised, like he had no idea it was coming. So I think he liked it because he likes that kind of stuff when we go to too many games, which is actually what my shirt is. You can see all the cat hair on my shirt because black t-shirts in this house are never safe. Any black clothing, any clothing really. And so I think he really liked it. And Christmas with my family was nice. We had went to my in-laws. Might have been the weekend I did the color and chat. It was right before I was supposed to leave because they wanted to go ahead and celebrate a bit early. And so we didn't actually go see them the week of Christmas. We went to see them early. Went to my parents' Christmas morning. My aunt and uncle were there too, so it was really nice to spend some time with them. And we all hung out. I got some cool stuff for Christmas that I didn't really show in the Happy Mail email. If I do, Happy Mail email all in the brain, y'all. Happy Mail video. So I'll have to show you guys that maybe if I can do a supply haul this month, maybe next month. And some different like artist stuff like diamond painting and stuff like that. So that was really cool. I did get, I think, the Small Victories Joanna Basford book from them. I got the Golden Girls seasons 1 through 7 on DVD finally. I know you're shocked I didn't already have that, but I've just been relying on Hulu all these years. I just, at this point with streaming, I'm so upset at how they're treating their customers and switching to all this ad bullshit. Okay, well, my filters, like, we'll manage as best we can. Really mad at streaming services right now. And some streaming services, even if you bought content from them, are like, yeah, no, we're taking this content off our site and you can't access it anymore. And see, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. So now my husband and I are kind of rolling back into DVDs just to make sure we have access to some of this stuff forever. There's some stuff we bought digitally that just hopefully will continue to have access to as the years goes on, but really who knows at this point, right? And yeah, in that vein, to top it all off, then Amazon Prime pulls that nonsense where you pay, it's up to, do you guys remember when it was like, I don't know, $75 a year or $100 a year or something like that? Now it's like 130, 140 US. And on top of the price increases, now we rarely get 2 day shipping. Usually it's 3 to 5 days. And so the shipping's gotten worse. And then now they're wanting to add ads to Prime Video stuff unless you pay an extra $3 a month. Like, ridiculous, ridiculous. I We were rewatching Stargate SG1, and we were watching on Amazon Prime. We do have it on DVD, but we're lazy and we don't have a DVD player fully hooked up at this time. So we've been watching it on Amazon. But I'm telling you, at the end of January, as far as we got, we are going to switch over to DVD because it is the principle of the matter, and I am not watching the ads on there. So I guess we're not watching Amazon Prime anymore unless we rent something. And even then, we only rent stuff usually when we get promotional discounts because sometimes we don't need stuff shipped to us within a couple of days. Now, I do like they offer promotional credits if you ship stuff like a week into the future or something longer. Like, I don't mind that. That's been really nice. I do like that they do that, which means they'll probably take it away here soon. But a lot of times we use that promotional credit to rent movies. On the rare occasion there is a watchable movie. So yeah, not a cool move, not a good look. We actually canceled Netflix. I got so tired of them raising prices and doing the same thing about not, is there even an ad free option now? It's like $20-$30 a month. I got so mad about it and how they just kept, they would have really good shows and then they would cancel them. And we've had that happen at least a half dozen times on us. And the last time it happened, I was just like, no, we can't do this anymore. We spent the summer and fall watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which was the big thing we wanted to see. I finally got to watch the final season of The Crown, which I gotta say, out of all the Netflix produced shows, apparently they're producing JoJo now too, so I'll give them credit for that. But like Bridgerton and The Crown, like, I gotta say, those are pretty high on my list of like best original shows. But you gotta think, they have a lot of others that I would consider great originals. It's never been that their original content isn't good, it's just they never keep it. They never keep it. Like, it's such a low percentage. And we're scared to like anything on Netflix now if it has seasons because we're pretty sure they're just not going to have another season of it. So I did finish up watching that. Highly recommend that if you're into like royal history, any type of history, anything like that. I think you'll like it. Obviously, it's very dramatized, and um, I have my own conflicted feelings on Queen Elizabeth II, I guess. I have my own conflicted feelings about her, but I do admire her for being a strong woman role model at a time where, you know, sometimes I feel like you can, I'm not saying she was faultless and that she didn't make a lot of bad decisions and the whole, like, there's a whole lot of levels there in regards to the monarchy and, like, not owning countries, but I guess kind of owning countries and stuff like that. There's words for this that my brain's just not going to handle at 5:30 on that Thursday. There's fancy words for this, but there's a whole lot of layers here. But overall, like, I appreciate that she is a strong female in a role that people in the past really, with the exceptions of, few historical figures like Victoria and Elizabeth I, a lot of times men don't particularly appreciate a woman leader. So I am respectful of, like, that. I admire that about her, that she remained, like, strong through a lot of things, but, like, I feel like that's also a detriment to some of the things that happened in regards to her family and things like that. So, like, I watched all that, and again, I was like, yeah, I'm respectful of her in the position to a point, but then I turned right around and read Spare by Harry Wells. And that's incredible. And, like, the thing is, though, like, he never really talked as much about her, except in the perspective that she was very much, she was very tradition based, very, even the things, stress and things that he went through in his life and things he wanted to speak out against in regards to the press and stuff. She was very, no, traditionally the royal family doesn't do this and da 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 da. Like, that was the stuff that I think was the biggest thing about her. I mean, he had a lot to say about everybody, but it's a very good book. I highly recommend, again, if you have any interest in the royal family. I didn't know a lot about Harry. I didn't know a lot about Meghan Markle, except what random stuff I see online, and I'm like, wow, this is this is messed up. So I did go read that. That was enlightening. Again, I realized that was an autobiography, so you have to take that with what it is, but it was very enlightening, like I said, something I didn't know a lot about. Wow, I managed to find something I could jump on that would completely distract away from all the mess in my life right now. Like, this is the stuff that's keeping my sanity. Like Stargate, we have a new season of Rick and Morty to watch. That we do purchase on Amazon. And now I'm like, at some point, I'm sure they'll yank it in the future. I think we have some episodes of Archer and some different stuff on there. But yeah, no, we canceled Netflix. I I just, and this is what they bank on. I can't give up Amazon Prime because where we live, we're so far away from, like, Sam's and Costco's and Best Buy's, any type of specialty or big box stores. We are kind of far away from. So it really is a benefit to us to be able to get a lot of special things delivered. And because of all the issues that happen with the house and various things like that, we just need a lot of weird, I say weird things, like I would be afraid for somebody to look in my history. No, I'm talking, like, not even spark plugs, but I mean, you could go over here to AutoZone and pay 3 times the amount for one spark plug. I'm not making up parts, but I'm just making up an assumption about this. But this is pretty much what it's like for any type of part. I think my husband had to get a new headlight light or something. He could go over here to AutoZone and pay 3 or 4 times what he could find for it on Amazon. And they know this. They know this. This is why they do. They have all these big wigs that sit there and they go, we're going to push and push and push people. And at some point, we'll start to see people not renew their membership, and then we'll backtrack. But, like, we're just going to keep pushing the buttons. So I know this. And while I'm curbing spending, I know with all that we get on there in terms of household items and things like that, it is not possible at this point for me to just say, I'm done. I wish I could. Uh, there's that quote about consumption and capitalism and something like that. But at the end of the day, I can try to be mindful and reduce what I'm consuming and what I'm, and all these things. But at the end of the day, it's like there's no ethical consumption through capitalism or something like that. I think that's it. But it's I mean, like almost 100% the truth. And if you can have ethical consumption, you're paying like 20 times the cost. So anyway, let's not get me started on the evils of capitalism right now. I am feeling very anarchist today. Um, I don't even remember. Okay, so after Christmas, really, I just unplugged. Well, I didn't unplug. I got into video games and disappeared on my couch for like 3 or 4 days. I love playing video games, and I got some new ones for Christmas that I was trying out. What was the one I was playing a lot of? It was a city builder, like um, Banished, if you've ever heard of that, if you use a lot of games on Steam. It's similar to Banished, but it's a more updated version. And I can't think of the name of it right now, but I was playing a lot of that. I tried to play. Boy, I can't think of any of the names of the games right now. This is ridiculous. Anyway, I like holed up for 3 days on the couch and they just flew by. It's one of the reasons I don't play a lot of video games right now, is because I love them, but I can, if I was playing The Sims like I used to, I could build a basic house for a Sim in 2 hours have gone by. Like, it's crazy how much time disappears when I play video games. And so when I get into them, like, time just slips by. And so I was off, and like I spent 3 of those days like doing nothing but playing video games, and I was like, at the end of it, I was like, where did this time go? It was useful, it was nice, I'm glad I did it, but it just makes it hard to do that now. It's one of the reasons I don't play as many games as I used to, because it's hard to invest the time. Plus, when I stare at a work screen all day, it feels, and my eyes are dry like they are right now, it feels like I'm torturing myself to make myself stare at another computer screen until bed. So did that and pretty much did nothing for a week. I was going to do all my plans and videos and stuff that week for the new year and work on my planner and stuff that week, and none of that happened. And as I told you guys, I think this happened last year. The week after Christmas and the week before New Year's, I just need to consider a bum week for me, because it is just something about starting the new year. Oftentimes, you're looking back and you're like, so much crap went wrong. So much was like, I'm looking at the year as a whole and I'm like, wow, it's just been awful. And then I'm looking at the next year and I'm like, I don't see things getting a whole lot better on the whole for people, or myself. Not too much. And so it's, especially at this time, I guess, with in the US and with the way things are, it doesn't feel like I don't know. It just feels weird for me to, there's so much greater going on, and I'm like, I don't know, regular resolutions just for me personally right now feel kind of hollow, though I did write some down that I'm going to share hopefully in a plans video this weekend, if I can get to recording it tomorrow or Saturday. Yes, I'm finally doing a plans video halfway through January. But I get really depressed. I just hit a really dark period where I know as the years go by, I get sicker and it gets harder for me to do things. It gets harder for me to stick to planning, to stick to habits, to build good habits. And I just feel like even with the 2 months of leave, like I was still struggling. And so it was just a really hard time for me. And again, I think that happened to some extent last year too. So I just need to remember that next year. Like, somebody send me a memo next year and be like, hey, heads up, that week after Christmas. And, like the whole prepping for Christmas thing this year, I think I was more into it than I normally am. I did a lot more Christmas coloring and stuff. So it wasn't Christmas itself, it was just that after Christmas kind of slump. And Knowing I have to go back into work and everything's going to ramp up back to normal at the start of the year, and just not feeling ready for that and stuff. So then we went to last week, and a lot of people were still out of office, so it was actually a pretty quiet week. It felt like a nice, slowly dipping back into work week where I didn't have an excessive schedule every day, and like could work on. So we're doing big presentations on all the emails we sent last year, like results and findings and stuff. So I was working on my portion last week, but it didn't feel overwhelmingly so. I was slowly working on it and the few things I had to do. And I had my planner out. I actually did work on my planner last week, and I was like, hey, it was a tough week, but it still wasn't terrible. Like, this is manageable. Then this week happened, and okay. So, first off, well, this was sort of last week. My foot's been hurting on and off for the past few months, and it kind of comes and goes. It'll ache more in the morning than it will, like, once I get up and walk around on it, I guess, warms up. It doesn't hurt as much, but then if I stay off for long periods of time, it'll start aching again. It's more on the bottom of the foot, towards the side, like my left foot. And it runs from like the very base of my heel all the way to the front of my foot. And so I went to the doctor about expecting he would probably refer me, but he didn't. He said he thought I had plantar fasciitis, which is basically tendonitis in those, I guess, tendons in the foot. And over time, like, I guess if you don't keep it flexible, and probably those 2 months I spent doing nothing but sleeping didn't help. But if you don't keep that flexible, and I guess as you age, those tendons can become kind of brittle, they can become shortened if you spend a lot of time not keeping your foot flexed. And then when you get up in the morning, you put pressure on it, you flex your foot, a lot of times you can cause some damage there, you can cause pain, inflammation, things like that. So now I have to wear this little brace to bed on that foot every night, and basically not do any excessive walking. Hello, next week. Or exercise until it heals. He said it could take a couple months. And then I've talked to other people who are like, it could take even longer. I guess it's better than it was last week, a little bit. I mean, it's only been a week, so fair enough. I wouldn't expect a huge change. But that brace, y'all, I wear CPAP when I go to bed, and then now I have this brace. Now I'm doing the skincare at night. Like, it feels like I'm putting on some type of armor to do battle while I'm asleep. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I joked with Tammy and Chris that, if my husband ever woke up in the middle of the night and actually had to turn the light on and take a good look at me, like, he would scream, because I'd be terrifying. And I said, at least I would. What is all that thing? At least I would deter any would be robbers. They'd just run out of the house screaming. And so that's been a thing. And of course, I have to do a bunch of walking next week in the airport. So that is probably going to delay the healing of it. But there's really not much I can do. And I have to go next week. And so there's that. Reap Sheep got another ear hematoma. I showed a picture of him on Instagram last night. We did actual surgery on his ear this time. Last time it was just an injection, and he messed with it enough. He got another one. So they did surgery this time to go in there and put sutures in. And because of that, he had to come home with a cone on his head. He looks like a blue lampshade right now. He is perpetually pissed, which, fair enough, I probably would be too. And I got super stressed about that because the one achievement I've never been able to master as a cat lady in 20 years is being able to keep a cone on a cat. Because A, they either won't keep it on and will take it off, or B, They get so upset and depressed they refuse to move, eat, or drink unless I take it off. And I joked that my first cat, Felix, a few times he had to wear a cone, he refused to walk forwards. Anytime that cone was on, he would just walk backwards. Well, he would walk backwards into a corner and then just sit there. Like, you could put him out in the middle of the floor and he'd just back up into some corner somewhere and hide, and he wouldn't eat and he wouldn't drink. And that's been pretty much the reaction I've had across the board. So I've never been able to successfully do that, even with trying different cones. Now, thankfully, the cone they gave him was a softer cone. I'd already ordered a couple off the internet because I didn't know what they were sending him home with. And there's one, it's watermelon shaped. My husband's already been putting it on the other cats and having a rip roaring good time briefly, not stressing the cats out. Trust me, Bagheera didn't even care. Leroy was able to easily pull it off, and Winry did the freeze thing, and we took it back off. But like Bagheera didn't care. The problem with the watermelon one is it's so cushy that I think he can get his paw around it. It's probably more comfortable for him, but he can get his paw around it to his ear. And of course, but they sent him home with a soft blue cone, and that seems to be doing the trick. He is doing a lot of ear shaking. I can't do nothing about that. But he had trouble for a couple days. Oh, there it is. Okay, he brought me it. This is the watermelon one I'm talking about, by the way. Not going to try to put it on my head because obviously it's not going to fit, though that would be freaking funny because he'd probably have to cut me out of it and I would never get back out of it. But I'd have a watermelon around my neck. But see, like here, he could probably squish it enough to get like his paw around. He's very persistent. He got home Tuesday because he had to stay overnight Monday, which again always stresses me out because I don't like him having to stay. I know it upsets them. And y'all know how I treat my cats. So, like, the whole thing obviously was stressful to me. Well, Lord knows it was for him. And he come home Tuesday, and I figured he would just refuse to come out of the carrier, and we'd have to take the cone off and find some way to keep him from pulling the sutures out. He has 2 weeks before he gets them out. They said to keep the cone on him at least a week. And he spent Monday, he was actually getting up on the couch. I made sure he could eat with it on. He can drink. However, wet food, water, and litter end up all kind of congregating in it, and I have to clean it a couple times a day. It's going to look really grubby when it's done. We're going to have to wash it. But I was like, we're not taking it off him until we have to, because if we take it off him, then he's going to realize it can come off, and we'll never be able to keep it back on him. We were doing really well until last night. He got stuck in a spot in the closet, which was what I feared would happen, is he would get stuck. And he managed to pull his head out of the cone, which was great. That was exactly what should happen. My greatest fear is he would strangle himself and panic. But my husband found him without the cone this morning. We eventually found it, and we put it back on him, and he seems okay so far. We did make sure to block that area in the closet so he can't get stuck again. So that has been a thing, and he will probably continue to wear it while I'm gone, which means I need my husband to watch him even more closely. That usually Roof Sheep's not one of the ones we've got to worry too much about. So plus I worry about Leroy because Leroy's an asshole, and he doesn't like the fact Reef Sheep fights back, so a lot of times he will chase Reef Sheep, and I'm worried he's going to chase Reef Sheep with that thing on. He saw them the other day and freaked out, thinking he like puffed up, thinking he was another cat. I was like, oh, this is not going to go well. He looks like one of those, I don't know what they're called. They look like lizards, but then they've got the big, where they get freaked out or something, and like this big weird thing pops out, collar pops out, I guess to scare off predators or whatever. That's exactly what Reef Sheep looks like right now. But so far, he hasn't chased them. Thank goodness. I do worry about next week, but there's just nothing I can do at this point. We can't take it off of him. We can't watch him enough. that ear, because it's constantly has fluid in it, and we can't, there's no surgical way we can fix that. He is constantly dealing with that ear, and so there's just no way we can watch him enough and closely enough with that cone off for him to not mess it up. So there's that. Then Monday was everybody's first full day back at work. I've been spending hours and hours on that presentation I just mentioned this week. We've had multiple meetings, my manager and I, cleaning that up, coming up with talking points, things like that, because this is a VBD, VBFD, very big fucking deal, where I'm going to have to present this to a lot of managers and a lot of people on our teams. And it'll be next week, of course. We're doing a kind of a rehearsal tomorrow. So I don't like doing presentations. It's been a long time since I have, and I'm all like stuff like that. It's just, I'm not used to that. And so that has been, if that alone would have made this a stressful week. I am having medication refill issues. Two things. The Savella I take, for some reason, the it's an online pharmacy that fills it. And then each year the insurance asks for a pre-authorization request, it's Blue Cross, from my doctor's office. They did it the December before last, and I didn't have to do anything. It was handled very quickly. There was no issue. And then they asked for it again this year, and it's been silenced from my doctor's office. And this is the asshole in Nashville that I can't stand. And I still have 2 refills left on this one before. Actually, I have 3 because they're late on this one. And then I go see him again in March. And so they said, well, we can't get a hold of your doctor's office. You're going to have to call them. So that was on the 29th. And then I called them on like the 4th. Then I called back on Monday. Then I called back today because I hadn't heard from the nurse, hadn't heard from the doctor. The pharmacy said they still hadn't got it. Nobody, and even the person I talked to today was like, this is really weird. In your notes, it shows that I sent this and nobody's responded. Nobody's done anything with it. And it's been like a week and a half now. Now, I know this time of year that's pretty much a constant request. However, I think after a week and a half, at least some communication would be helpful so that I know where it's at. And I'm not happy. I'm not happy. It's not the people I'm talking to, because they're just, I'm not talking to the nurses. I'm talking to the person there who handles prescription refills, because apparently there's a separate person for that. So, not mad at them. It's not their fault. But because of that, I have to ration it. I should have gotten a refill about 2 weeks ago. And so there's that. There's also, I take meds for insomnia, and because of the laws surrounding those, you are limited when you can get refills, which, okay, fine. The problem is, I'm supposed to go get them Monday. Not going to be here. I run out on Monday. Not going to be here. If I can't get them tomorrow, or if I can't get at least enough to get me through a few days next week, then I'm not going to be sleeping this weekend, because I'm going to have to save all those meds for next week, because I've got to be as sharp as I can with all the things. Next week's just a very important week for work, and I can't just not go. There's a lot writing on this that plays out how my year's going to go, what my workload's going to be like, who the teams I'm going to be working with. We're going to be doing a lot of planning and stuff next week, and it's just one of those things I really can't miss. And of all the weeks for me to be rationing some of my medication, because I am not sharp and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on any day, but I am more so when I don't have these issues and when it happens. So I'm very, very stressed out about that. And I won't know. I called my pharmacy earlier this week, and they're like, well, call back Friday. And I, like, you can't tell me now. So I I don't I know the premise. I know the reasoning for this stuff. But I could sit here for a half hour and go on a rant on how they have went so severe in how they limit medications and things like that, that even circumstances like this, people end up suffering, people end up having problems that should have never been an issue. And you're probably thinking, well, can't you just pay for it out of pocket? No, no. For some reason in my state, either the insurance pays for it because of the type of medication classification is, the insurance has to pay for it. They only pay for 30 days each month, even though there's 31 days in a lot of months. And that's all I get. And I just tough shit for that extra day a month when I have it. And it's not just me, it's a lot of people that have to do that. I have to go in and see the doctor every 3 months. They test me to make sure it's in my system. And my medication is not considered something that I don't even understand why it's on this list. I'll be honest with you. I don't understand because it's an insomnia medication. It is not an abused medication. And I don't understand why this has to be so hard, and it just, as mad as it makes me for myself, but like I get mad for other people because this is their life. This is what they have to do to be able to function. There's a lot of different meds out there that are like that. And it's this whole, we're trying to keep people from getting addicted or overdosing on stuff. And I'm sorry, the ones that are you're not offering them any sort of recovery programs. You're not doing anything proactive to try to help them manage that. You're just saying, okay, we're just cutting you off and we're making life difficult for the people that don't have these issues. But we're not, like I said, we're not also offering help for those people that really need it. We're just cutting you off of it, and tough luck. You either sink or swim. We don't care if you die. We just don't want you to actually have this medication. Like, we don't care if that happens, but as long as it's not on this med, you're fine. Boy, I'm gonna have to play around with the ratings on this. And it's just, and people like that, you know what they do? They turn to street stuff, and there's definitely no regulation behind that. So, like I said, I talked for a half hour on how just reactive and obnoxious those types of policies are. I'm not saying they're not fully helpful. I'm not saying there shouldn't be certain policies in place. I'm just saying, like, this level is ridiculous. Ridiculous. So, yeah, I am really stressed about next week. Okay, and to wrap it up, because I guess I am going to be talking for like an hour. To wrap it up, there's supposed to be snow here Sunday night and the Monday morning. We don't know what it is going to be yet. You never know around here because it's so unpredictable. I don't drive well in snow and ice, and nobody in Middle Tennessee mostly drives well in snow and ice. And people can tell me all day long, oh, you'll be fine, just get over it. I do it all day long. That's the thing, though. You may do it all day long, but the people around here don't do it all day long. And, whatever. Stuff it. Because you, you don't have to be out on the road with these people. And Monday morning, I am going to have to. And I can't take an Uber because of the timings of my flights. I have to actually take my vehicle and park. I may have to get a hotel closer to the airport Sunday night if it's going to be really bad. But as of right now, the forecast does seem to have lightened up a little bit. So hopefully still just going to stay at my parents, but it is good, the whole polar vortex, bone chilling cold thing's going to happen here Monday and Tuesday. And while it's not going to matter if I'm here or not, I hate that for my husband and the cats having to deal with that. Hopefully there's no power issues. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be any major systems moving through at that time, like weather-wise, so it looks like it's just going to be cold. And this is why I don't like traveling in December, January, and February here, because you just never know. And because it can change every 2 or 3 days, it's really hard to plan any sort of trip in advance with this kind of stuff. So yeah, I fly out Monday, and then this week, because I have to stay an extra day because we're combining all the stuff we should have done in December, I can't come back till Friday, and it's going to be early Saturday morning before I get home. Now, they are giving us the following Monday off, which is nice. However, I'm just I'm exhausted coming back on Thursday nights. I can't imagine what I'm going to feel like coming back on Friday, plus probably not having all my medication. It's going to be, I told my coworker, I said, I am going to be an absolute delight to be around next week. And she knows I meant that with a lot of sarcasm. So it's just a lot. And then Monday, I had some plans for the year that were made for the next few months in terms of email calendars. Then we had a system wide issue that popped up Monday that should have been communicated weeks ago that now we have to navigate. Then Tuesday, I found out one of my managers turned in their notice. And it's one that I really like and is one of the few positives I can say about my job right now. I don't know. He found a great opportunity. I'm thrilled for him. Like, go get it. Like, you ain't even got to tell me why right now. Like, I can guess what some of the reasons are, but wish you the best. This is probably the best thing for you, but I'm losing a valuable person on my team. And right now we are at such a minimum head count that it is stressful. And it also kind of throws up where we're going to be placed in the future. They just did another reorg in my group, and my group actually was spared that reorg. But if they don't backfill this manager's position, who knows where they're going to put us, what that means for our plans for the year. And it's just, I've been told that this company and this job is you've got to be able to handle change. Like, I'm like, that's not change, that's chaos. Like, there's change. Like, you send emails out, you look at the performance, and then you make changes to what you're doing, maybe something different because what you're doing is not working. That's change. But having so much uncertainty in your company and all the things that have happened this past year that I can't talk about, it's been a very, very uncertain kind of year. It just throws more uncertainty in the mix, and I feel kind of out of control about it right now. So it is just the first 2 days this week. It honestly, y'all, felt like I hadn't taken a leave at all. It just was right back into the chaos. And things have slowed down a little bit the past couple of days, but we've still got I've still got next week. Like, next week's just looming like a big dark cloud right now. And I just hope I can come through it and at least have most of my hair. Though I guess that, wigs, I watch a lot of wig TikToks. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of wigs out there. So if I snatch myself bald headed, at least I have a better choice of wigs than I guess they did when I was a kid. So there's that. And yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? Does there really need to be anything else? When I tell y'all, this is just a preview. This is my planner for the week. Actually, you can see Reap Sheep and his little cone right here. His poor pitiful face. When I tell you I had all my meetings set out for the week and everything, and how many times I've had to cross things out, move things around, redo it, because every single meeting I think I've had this week has either been moved, canceled, or moved or canceled. Like, nothing has happened at the time it was supposed to happen. It's just, again, that's not change. That's chaos. Chaos. And I still have messages from friends that I need to respond to. I, again, haven't colored. I have things I should be crocheting. I just, this happens every time I start, like, my planner last week looks really good. I actually followed my skincare routine, and every time it feels like I make plans or I try to set up something, I know life happens. I get it, and there's never going to be. It's always, things are always going to go wrong. But when I tell y'all how it feels like every time I try to get some semblance of control and organization over my life, it usually is anywhere from a couple weeks to a month. I make that attempt, and it's like everything goes to garbage. And again, maybe that's just a higher issue of everything's constantly going to garbage right now. So my planning just happens to fall in between the cracks. But it's almost like the universe is like, yep, your life's out of control. You can't control any of it. And I'm like, I'm gonna take a little bit of control back and try to plan out stuff and do things to make myself feel better and take care of myself. And the universe is like, oh no, you can't have that. So we're gonna push even harder on you. And then you just keep pushing until I give up. And then things will calm down a little bit for a while. I'll start it again, and then it does it again. It just, this is why it's hard for me to stick to things. But I do want to talk about plans in more detail. Hopefully Sunday. If I can't, then I'll just do it when I get back. I guess as long as I'm hitting January, I'm doing pretty good. I still want to do actually an updated tour of my room. I got some new organization drawers for my studio, and but I still have a bunch of stuff to go through. I've got coloring books I've purged that are just sitting here in piles I need to do something with. I have so many things on my to-do list, and right now it's like none of it, if it's not work related, it's just not getting done. I mean, well, I say that, but like, I'm also trying to get a phone switch to a different carrier, and that's not going well either. It's like everything I'm trying to do to check something off my list, and it's like none of it, I can't make any progress on anything. I've tried to call and do so much this week to get things moving, and it just really, I am doing all I can do. I'm not even putting it off like I normally would. I would just procrastinate. I'm not even doing that. I'm trying so hard, and the universe just won't give me. The break it gave me this week was Roof Cheap being able to handle the cone like that. Now that's a pretty massive break, I'll say, in the grand scheme of things. If I had to be like, I want to be grateful for something, I am grateful that he is handling the cone and that we're not having to try to watch him without it, because that would have been a whole lot worse. I am thankful that I already have my next draft of my presentation done. Tomorrow's the run through. I have a few changes probably to make from that, and it'll be ready to go. It does look good. There's a lot of information. I am grateful that my managers had the time to work on that with me this week and help me, give me some tips and some tidbits to make it more polished. So I am grateful for that, that I don't feel like I'm going into this meeting completely unprepared, only slightly. Only slightly. And like I said, I am in a, even with all this stress, I am in a better headspace going into this next week than I was in December. I just wasn't in a place where I could go anywhere in December. Like, I don't know why there's such a difference. Maybe it was the extra 2 weeks of rest. Maybe it was the need to fully get back into the groove of work before. I honestly don't know what to tell you, but I am grateful that as much as next week has a lot of things not going well for it right now, I am still in a much better headspace and a whole lot better able to handle it than I would have in December. So I am grateful for that. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. And it's bad when you spend an hour on the phone with your therapist and they're like, damn, that sucks. And that's all they say for like the whole hour. And at the end, they're like, I can send you some meditation and some breathing exercises, but really, truly, a lot of this is out of your control. It's funny because I mean, I seriously, there are some things that I can work on with her if we can ever get to it, but like so much life gets in the way, and most of it is like, she's like, yeah, that sucks. Like, she's like, I don't really have a therapy fix for that one. And, therapy fix, like they're all fixes or patches or something. She doesn't have anything she can, that we can work on for me on that. And I think sometimes the level of what I'm dealing with, she's like, no wonder you have anxiety. Like, she's never been like, I don't understand why you have so much anxiety. She's always been like, yeah, I can see that. Like, So I just think it's really funny. So yeah, that's been it. Not in a nutshell because, hey, look, it was an hour after all. And like I said, this would have been 2 or 3 hours had I tried to color with it. And this is, y'all seem to like the front facing videos sometimes. So I figured I'd mix it up a bit this year. Like I said, with the skincare and stuff like that. I don't feel like I look terribly like an ogre this year. So why not? And plus, I feel bad like coloring people's pictures and just griping for an hour. Like, I want to have positive experiences when I'm coloring, these artist pictures, hard drawn, hard work pictures, and not just be grumbling the whole time. It just feels like I'm putting a lot of bad juju to it, like rubbing my own bad luck upon upon their art, and I don't want to do that. So that was one of the reasons I did it this way. All right, so going to try to do a plans video Sunday. We're not going to have anything set up while I'm gone. I am just, yeah, I don't have it in me. I should have known this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen, but I was trying to prevent it. And well, here we are. So I do have some plans for some videos the following week. Maybe something that Sunday. The following week, I do have a color pencil video I'm hoping to do and a couple other things. But it's just with the travel, I've hit my limits. So at the very least, what I would like to do is actually be able to color, and especially while I'm gone, I want to take some stuff with me. I am, because of the medication and stuff, I've already given my manager a heads up that due to my like medical accommodations and stuff and issues, due to my issues, but that's not the way I put it to her, due to my issues, I am only going to have so much energy every day. And I want to be put it all 100% towards work and getting, so much accomplished that I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of team dinners and socialization. A lot of times I'll just be going back to the room because I'm exhausted. And she gets it. She knows me. She knows how I am. She knows what we've talked at length about, like the medical issues. And that's the thing. They've never impacted my work or my ability to do my work. It always impacts the adjacent things to work, like commutes and trips and socializations after work and things like that. So she's cool with that. There is a possibility we might be going to Cirque du Soleil Wednesday night. That is the one activity they've talked about, and I am actually interested in going to that. So I will probably try to go with the goal of going to that event that night. Also, because of the increase in COVID cases and flu and pneumonia and long coughs, long colds, everything, all the sickness that's out there, I am reluctant to eat in restaurants during the week. So I'll be like masking. I'll be in the one of the offices there all week. I'll be masking all week, and then we're getting lunches delivered to the office. I don't know. I might try to find a place. Well, they're going to be buildings are going to be full. I'm going to just have to determine what my willingness is to do there based on, I guess, everybody else. But then in the evenings, I don't really want to go in a crowded restaurants because the last thing I need right now is additional sickness. And but I can mask to the Cirque du Soleil performance. It's just obviously if we're eating together, that's where, obviously if I want to eat, I have to take the mask off some. So that's a little stressful too, but I've managed it well enough in the past. So it'll be fine. It has to be fine. It'll all be fine. So yeah, plans on Sunday. Like I said, probably nothing the next week. Maybe the next weekend. It really just depends on how I feel when I get back. And then if I can't do anything at all this next week, like Monday through Sunday, then I will probably do something that following Wednesday and we'll just pick up and go from there. If you've sat here and listened to me this whole time, just know that I appreciate you and thank you for listening to me rant. And if you are having struggles in your own life, I don't know, sometimes it feels like you're a little less alone when you hear other people are too. And so, if anything, maybe this has just distracted you for an hour while you've been cleaning or coloring or doing something. So, I do apologize if I sound grumpy or ungrateful because at the end of the day, I know there are people going through worse. And, I mentioned last month, and I don't know if you didn't see it in my coloring chat, my husband's going to be officially laid off from his job at the end of this month. So there's that too, hanging in the background. And so I know there are people going through worse. I know we are in a better position. What is it called? I have, can't think of the word. Cannot think of the word. What is it called? Anyway, it's realizing that, there are a lot of people that have it worse off than me, and that I am, and I'm not bragging about it, but that, why can't I think of that word? My gosh, there's a term for this. But that also doesn't mean that if you can think, you probably know what I'm thinking of if you're listening, but however, just that doesn't mean my own struggles should be minimized, that they are, my struggles and my issues are just as important and out there as anybody else's, and that, anybody that wants to minimize my issues and be like, get over it, well, have fun with your own life, but I'm just doing the best I can do with mine and what I have. So anyway, all right, well, that's enough of that. Let me see if I can get this loaded. And we'll talk soon. Hopefully, the Alaska Air thing too. Funny enough, I'll tell y'all, if you're still listening, the Alaska Air thing that happened with that flight a couple weeks ago in Portland. That was a little concerning because I normally take Alaska Air because I prefer it to Delta. And I saw that and I was like, but this time the thing made me choose Delta. So this time I'm going in Delta, and I checked, and both planes are not in the MAX series that is out there, the Boeing MAX series that they've pulled. And so I'm glad, but I'm already nervous enough about flying. Like, this just makes it a whole lot worse. Had aisle seats both times. Probably will never get a window seat again. My coworker, poor thing, she does fly Alaska Air, and I guess they've been having cancellations all week long because I guess those planes have been pulled for inspection. Either they hadn't been ready, or they were found faulty or something, and so they've been canceling flights all week, and that's what she was flying this next Monday. So I'm just crossing my fingers hers doesn't get canceled, mine doesn't get canceled, nobody get canceled. But oh my goodness, it's just, yeah. Anyway, okay, on that note, y'all take care, and I will try to post to Instagram when I can. maybe some during the week. And I'd like to record pieces and do a vlog, like of what it's like for a week work trip to Seattle. I would like to work on that, and then when I get back, obviously put that all together. So we'll see. Thanks, guys, for watching. I hope your day is going better than mine, or that you are at least able to handle, if nothing, just handle what life's throwing at you. At the very least, that you have, a warm blanket and privilege. It was privilege, was the word I was looking for. I have a lot of privilege. Golly, this has been all week, guys. So anyway, y'all take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.